What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and just a quick update. Everton have been linked with Gabriel Barbosa. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. He plays for Flamengo. He's been there 2 years now, originally on loan. He scored over 40 goals in something like 55 appearances or something for the club. And this is a lad that we've been linked with heavily before. He was a player that was linked when Gabriel Jesus signed for Manchester City. He was linked to Everton, and we've been linked with these players before. We've been linked with Ruina and Guna, who are all young Brazilian internationals who are very quality, very technical, good finishers from what we've seen. We've seen a little bit of Guna playing with Richarlison in the in the Olympics, and these are players that are very good, very technically gifted, quick feet, quick on the ball, know where the goal is clearly in Gabriel Barbosa's case. And he's a player that, look, if Everton lost a striker, it kind of makes sense going for, young, 24 years old, has got experience playing in a difficult league, in a competitive league. We've seen before with players that come over from different leagues that may struggle with the Premier League. But I always think when it comes to South American football, tempo and speed isn't usually the issue. Usually, I always think if you go and buy a South American footballer from, a Brazil, a Mexico, or a Colombia, for example, you always tend to find that the attackers do quite well because, they're fleet-footed, they play quickly, play expansive football, which exactly is what the Premier League is all about. Defensively, you tend to question some of these guys. I mean, we're lucky we've got Colombia's best centre-back in Yuri Mina, and, you'd probably argue one of the best South American footballers in James Rodriguez, if not the best. Messi's obviously in there for Argentina, but you get what I'm saying, there's a technical ability. And what Barbosa does is sort of solidify some of the options that we've got. He would come in, he would work well with those players, he would work well with the guys who are sort of acclimatised to that. He would be able to be brought in and sort of bedded into a group of players. Richarlison could potentially look after him as well. The only question I have on this, and whether it's true or not, apparently his representative was in Florida last night. Funny enough, Everton were also having a game in Florida last night, which is a little bit interesting. But what I would like to know, see and experience is how quick Everton are trying to actually make these deals. Have we actually got the money to do it? Because by all accounts, we haven't. By all accounts, we have physically not got the money to go and get deals like this over the line right now. Another player that Everton have been linked with over the last couple of days is Middlesbrough right back Digib Spence. Oh, if I've said it wrong, apologies. But this is a lad that a few clubs have been interested in. It looks like West Ham are also interested in him. And it looks like Middlesbrough are prepared to let him go for between £6 and £8 million. Maybe he's a good alternative to a Max Aarons or a Dumfries. I don't know loads about him. I did watch him once, not specifically watching him. I watched a Middlesbrough game last season, and I'm pretty sure he was the right back that played. And I was actually impressed. I was impressed by his work rate, his engine. He seems to be physically combative enough, so, the Premier League rigours wouldn't necessarily be a problem. But again, with all of these rumours and these players, what I sort of thought last season was Ben Godfrey come out of nowhere. I'm expecting our right back to be exactly the same. I'm expecting it to be someone that we haven't even been linked with yet, because this Dumfries deal is dragging on. That's if it was even happening in the first place. So scrap that almost. Forget about it. Max Aarons we were linked with heavily in December. It doesn't look like anything's going to come of that this summer. With the links have gone quiet. So again, you're sitting there thinking maybe he's going to be someone like this. Maybe he's going to be a young 22, 21-year-old, someone who's played a few games in the Championship, and maybe Rafa Benitez thinks he can get the best out of them. Who really knows? But yeah, I'm sort of on the fence as to what I think about this, to be honest. I'm sort of on the fence as to what I think about it. Again, I just think it's a name for a name's sake. I think we've been linked a lot with just names. Koulibaly's been a name we've been linked with pretty much every day of the transfer window in some capacity, in some media outlet. Yet we haven't got £35 million to spend on the entire squad at the minute, let alone one player who's 30 years old. So I think we have to just tamper it down a little bit on the transfers. I really don't necessarily think much is going to happen, and this is why I wanted to talk about this and just go over a few points from last night's game against Pumas. It was an interesting game for a few reasons. I've still got a banging headache from this morning. I woke up, I had a horrendous migraine first thing this morning. Everton looked good, but they didn't look brilliant. I think that's probably the right way of saying it. I thought James was, I'm not going to say lazy, it's probably the wrong word, but I didn't feel that he tried to offer himself enough for the ball. Some people were giving Tom Davies a bit of stick. I thought Tom Davies was all right last night. Iwobi tried to play between the lines. He said he wants to be a number 10. He was played as a number 10. He got completely outshone by Demarai Gray. But to be honest, everyone did. Demarai Gray was absolutely sensational in the 45 minutes he played. The pace he's got to burn, the ability to pick up a ball and beat people. And this is what Everton have lacked. They've lacked this for ages. We used to have players who were capable of doing this. The model used to be Pienaar, Baines, and Arteta could pull the strings and he could beat a man. And we haven't had it for a long time. Then I sort of thought, we're coming back to that with players like Lookman. He didn't get a game. So it's good to see Demarai Gray being given a chance. 1.7 million. He sets up the goal, he wins the ball back, he sets it up, and Moise Keane makes it 1-0. Or as the American commentator says, Moise Keane! And that's exactly what it was like. So I don't know. Demarai Gray for me stood out in that team last night, and the more I sort of look at it and the more I look at the creativity, I think we're going to be heavily reliant on Demarai Gray, because he tries to get himself into games. And I just felt like last night, James Rodriguez didn't try to get himself in that game. He could have scored. Good save from the keeper. Ball comes across to him. He hits it first time. Could have scored, and all of that good stuff. But I do sort of question. I didn't question whether James was going to be here up until about a week ago. Now I'm sort of thinking he won't be. Moise Keane scored, and actually he's done a lot worse in an Everton shirt than he did last night. He had the overhead kick, which should have been a penalty. He also had the early opportunity where he turns and shoots. And I think all of that essentially come from Demarai Gray and Andros Townsend, and Everton playing with that little bit of width seems to be helping a little bit. So, look, as the game went on, Everton made the substitutions. We looked a little bit more ropey at the back, I would say. Val Virginia made a couple of decent saves from Pumas. But all in all, I thought we did all right. It'll be more interesting to see how we handle going back into the Premier League. We've got a Premier League game against Manchester. Well, it's not a Premier League. We're playing a friendly against Premier League side in Manchester United at Old Trafford next weekend, which will be interesting. I'm pretty sure we'll have a behind closed doors game as well, probably Tuesday or Wednesday, just to keep that fitness level ticking up. But yeah, for Man United, I want to see a steady 11, and maybe make 5 or 6 subs. But I don't want to see 22 players on a pitch. I want to see Everton trying to be constructive and trying to really be the team that they want to identify as next season, which could be an attacking team, it could be a defensive team, it could be whatever. But I'm struggling to see a pattern of play at the minute. Apart from the occasional long ball, we seem to be playing slightly more long balls at times. But whenever Demarai Gray picks a ball up, if I was at Goodison Park, I'd be getting up and standing up, getting eager, seeing where the ball is going. And it's really good. As I say, he's a local lad to me, so I'm absolutely over the moon for him that he's wearing the shirt with pride. He's spoken really well. All of our signings have. And I just hope he keeps it up, because I've got to be honest, at the minute, he's a starter every week. every single week. And, you know, if the transfer window was to pretty much end now, I definitely think we need a right back. So say we didn't get anyone else bar a right back, I think I'd be all right with it to a degree. We do need more strength. We do need a ball-carrying central midfielder. But I do think, you know, if you played whoever the right back would be, a Pickford, and then you've got Mina, Godfrey, Luca Dean, the middle two of Decore. I'm going to mention Alan in a minute. And then in front of him, you've got James Rodriguez one side, Richarlison on the left, Damari Gray on the right, and Calvert-Lewin up front. I think Everton could look really aggressive going forward. I want to talk about Alan, because Alan, in the few games he's played, in the few minutes he's played in pre-season, has not impressed me at all. I actually think it's more obvious with Alan than it is any other player in the team, because last night, I don't know what his passing statistics were, but he lost the ball so many times. And bearing in mind, he's meant to be the sort of anchor man in front of the back four. That really worried me. He did not play well at all, in my opinion, Alan, last night. He really didn't. And that my little bit of worry is, you know, is Alan the right man under this manager? I'm not saying Alan's a bad player. I'm not, and you know, last night's performance could have been a one-off, obviously, but he didn't, in my mind, light up the Premier League last season either. He had a decent season, but he wasn't our best player, but he certainly wasn't our worst. And I know this is going to sound a bit mad, but I think Tom Davies offered more than Alan last night. I really do. I thought Tom had an okay game. He weren't his best game, no, but he tries to hold the ball. He can beat him, man. He's got a lovely little turn. I almost wish Tom Davies could almost sort of reinvent himself into a Leon Osman. Close feet, not the tallest in stature, ability to beat someone. I sort of wish Tom would do that. But last night particularly, I did notice that Alan probably wouldn't start for me over someone who has impressed me in pre-season, which is Gbamin. He wouldn't start in front of Gbamin for me. So very interesting to see what happens with that position, because, again, it really wouldn't surprise me if Alan wasn't an Everton player at the end of this summer. And that's just me speculating, not anything I've heard or anything. So, yeah, that's where I am with Alan as well. Everton still being linked with, I think, Lazio player Joaquin Corellia. Look, from what I've seen of him, he's a very, very good player. You know, he's been linked with teams like Arsenal and Manchester City, and, you know, he's going to attract a lot of interest from a lot of players. I really don't think Everton are in for this lad. I think it's, you know, just throwing another name in there to show that he may have some interest. And we're seeing a lot of this in this transfer window. I think maybe a lot of clubs aren't happy with, I don't know, maybe how their club handled Corona, or, you know, personal situations, whether they had to lose weight. I don't know. I'm just speculating. But it does seem weird. There's so many names being linked to so many football teams. I mean, even Ben White. Everton have shown they don't have £50 million to sign Ben White. Yet Everton got through into the equation along with Arsenal out of nowhere. We're seeing it more and more and more. You know, we got linked with Martial 2 days ago. You know, again, there's nothing in it. So for me, I'd be very surprised if this is legit. But again, we'll see. The big thing for me, and I wish we'd have done it by now, is I really wish we'd have brought in a right back. I really wish we'd have brought in a right back, because we need one. We so need one. And, you know, I read the other day that Brighton were linked with Iwobi. Why can't we find a way of structuring a deal where we maybe offer them, I don't know. I mean, Iwobi's wages are going to be triple Lamperty's. What can we not afford to offer a money way through that? You know, Iwobi and say 15 million, 5 up front, and bring in Tariq Lamptey, and we'll also pay 20% of Iwobi's wages for a year or something. I don't know how these deals are structured, but, you know, we need a right back. And Seamus Coleman did well last night, but he should not be playing more than 10 games, in my opinion, next season. He really shouldn't, and they should be spaced out. John Joe Kenny isn't good enough. And that, again, I love the fact he scored a great penalty the other night. But he doesn't have a future at Everton. As much as he is a blue and he's a Scouser and he loves the city, as we all do, he isn't going to be able to get Everton into the top 6, the top 4, and aspirations of winning the league are miles away. So we need a right back, and we need a good one. And at this moment in time, I'm really concerned we haven't bought one in. So Lamptey would tick a box if Iwobi really was linked with a move away from Everton. And as I mentioned before, I'd drive him. So anyway, guys, I'm leaving it there. This video has been a bit longer than planned. Apologies. Have a lovely Thursday night. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm in Liverpool Friday, and I'll be in Liverpool for a little bit of Saturday as well. Really looking forward to seeing you guys. I really am. And I wish you all a happy Thursday. Peace.